Ready.
Right, Darcy and Jason, here's my little assembly video for you guys, just to make it easier. Those 10 boxes you've got on site. First step I always do is to assemble the DIN rails first, so I'll do that right now. So grab the DIN rails and the little feet and your screws. Put the DIN rails on top of the feet onto those little locating pins in each end, and then you should have 4 screws to put in. So you can use either obviously a cordless if you've got cordless, or a screwdriver. Generally, if you're doing 54 of these, you're going to be wanting to use probably a cordless. It's over 200 screws. PZ2 screw. I'm just using a PH2 bit, which is probably not ideal, but does the job for this video. This will be last. And if you've got magnetic bit, it makes it even easier to get your screw in the hole, which I'm sure you guys would have. So there's the first one done. So I think in your boards you've got 4 of these, so do them all first. And that's those done. Next step is to build the chassis. So then you get the side rails. The little curves on the corners is the outside. So you got one there, and then you've got the other one here. So that's your 2 side rails there. So you get your first DIN rail, and it slots into this gap here. And you can see on the outside is where you've got your hole to put your screw in. Now before I forget, get this concealed square lock nut, goes in there, push it right under that little locking pin, one on each side, you're done. So I always put them in, get the screw, then do the location wherever, no big deal to start off with. Just get them in reasonably tight. Unfortunately not the greatest quality screws, sometimes it's better to use a socket because the actual star shape isn't fantastic. So I always do all one side first. And the last one. This is only a 34 pole board, so it's only got 3 quite short DIN rails. 36 pole, sorry. 3 12 pole rails. Now for you're using a deeper switch, so probably you work out what height, but for a lower switch you just put your DIN rail up to wherever it needs to be and lock it in nice and tight. As I said, you can adjust the heights of these DIN rails, and there's even some very small notches where they can sit. They're sort of preset points at 48 and 75 mil. I think on yours is 3. So do that and do the same on the other side. Lock them in. Always easier doing the second side. Bring them straight up. Screw them in. So that is your chassis assembled, and for the deeper switches, you just drop it down. So that's all that part of it done. So that's your first step. Easy to mount your switches at this stage, because for wiring it's easy to work before it goes in the board. The next step is to work on the actual enclosure. So I'll just put the chassis aside. So in the same bag as the chassis sides, you have the feet. So these little support feet or brackets, they mount into the enclosure. You got two options. I think on your board you've got three options. Generally always go the top one. So you'll be mounting them on the top one. Now the way to mount these is get your little gold brass inserts, which is these here, threaded inserts. Put them into the top one and just push them nice and flush, so completely flush, so the feet will sit on perfectly. So we'll do this one here, push them in nice and flush, do all four. Just going to find my last one, which appears to be falling out of the bag somewhere. That's alright, it's still showing you how it's done. Then you put your foot on there, so that's loose, but it's got a little slot. Get your first screw and put it in. When you're doing these up, put plenty of pressure pushing in on the screw so it doesn't, so the threaded insert won't spin inside. So plenty of pressure on it. And then to finish it off, I always use a socket. And you want to get it nice and tight so there's no movement at all in this support bracket. Obviously use a better socket than this. So that's tight now. So you do all four like that. Put them all in. Alright, so we've got our chassis made. We've got our support feet in the box. The next step is the easiest. That slots straight in, straight onto those support feet. These plastic threaded screws. Need four of them, like that. Swap over to flathead, obviously. And as simple as doing them up. Then of course you got your cover plates, which are very self-explanatory, so I won't need to go through that process for you. But there you have it. Chassis is done. Got the key in there. When you do lock these, and I'll just pull this little feature out because it does make sense. Since there's such a big rubber seal on the door, when you do lock them, as you can see, it pops up a bit. Push them nice and hard, so the tongue fits straight under. You can see nice and hard. So the tongue fits straight under the latch. So that's it. That's that board done. So main points is build your din rails first, then your chassis, assemble it, then put your feet in. Make sure those gold inserts are pushed right in. Put lots of pressure on the screw so it doesn't spin the gold insert, and you're done. It's super easy. If you do have questions, give me a call and walk you through it, any steps. All the best with the project. Thanks guys, appreciate supporting PV. Cheers.